Welcome back to the Encore Audio Archives YouTube channel. I'm Taper Dave, and this is my channel. The archives and load up some other talks that I've got of these Bob Earll cassettes. I've had them sitting on a hard drive for some time now. I've decided to share them with you all. Let me know what you think. Some people loved Bob. Some people hated Bob. Bob was Bob, but he talked all over the world. I mean, he's from Los Angeles, Beverly Hills area, and did other things. I think he was a writer. Just click down below, like or subscribe, or both, like and subscribe. Just click down below, like and subscribe on my channel. It helps me out. Just a little click for you, doesn't cost you anything, and I'm bringing you some Bob Earll. And have a good day if you want to.
Right on. I want to thank the committee for asking me to speak. I was unable to get here till yesterday. I want to thank them for my newly painted room that they painted yesterday morning. But then I've always wanted to sleep on the deck. I don't know. I go through all kinds of things at conventions. I go in and out, and I have good times, and then I have quiet times, and then I have times where I get immensely judgmental of people, and we'll see if I can't refrain from all of that, which I've never been able to. I don't know why the hell I think I'm going to start now. Wes has known me for 19 years, which is why I'm last. He figures he doesn't want to deal with the people when I'm done. He's going to disappear saying, nah, shit, I didn't ask him. Wasn't my idea. Somebody else must have done that. There's a sign up there that says, live, love, and laugh. I've been looking at that sign a lot. I like that sign a lot. And it's also things that I don't know how to do, or at least when I certainly got to Alcoholics Anonymous, I did not know how to live, and I didn't know how to love, and I did not know how to laugh. I knew how to get hysterical, but it was never laughter in that sense, because my hysterical laughing was always close to nervous breakdown time. You know, it's like I will laugh because the alternative will have me locked up. And it seems like there is this thing in me, you know, it's Earl speaker this morning was to the definition of the word dilemma. And there's a word that begins with D that I'm much more attached to nowadays, and it's called desire. And I've heard a marvelous definition of it that most people seem to use, which is sire is of the Latin father, and D is Latin of. Desire, of father. Yet all my life I've been led to believe that these things inside of me, these feelings, these desires, this energy going on was wrong. So I spent all my time trying to hold all of it down, right? No wonder you drink. Jesus, you know, it's like everything inside of me that is natural. I heard a guy the other day on a tape who said, we were born free as a butterfly, and by age 6 our parents had put us back into the cocoon. I accept that. I believe that 100%. So, you know, if I can't let these feelings out, if I can't deal with these feelings, then I got to find a way to push them down, to get rid of them, to somehow I don't want to acknowledge them, because it's like I was raised in a household where silence was golden. You know, if you were a quiet kid, you were a good kid. As long as you didn't make any demands, make any noise, you didn't laugh too loud, never cry. Because see, crying is a sign of a problem. And my parents were not equipped to deal with children. And if you're not equipped to deal with children, you certainly can't deal with children's problems. You know, it's an added burden. My parents weren't equipped to deal with a dog, and they were smart enough never to get one of them. I say a lot of that stuff, and, some people go, oh, God, how can you say that? I mean, your parents, your mother, or your father. Well, my father died a chronic alcoholic. So obviously I'm a better alcoholic than my father because I'm sober. Son of a bitch, he went and died behind his disease, and I'm here. So I can say, God, I'm okay. I'm somebody. I'm here. I mean, he couldn't even get here, and he had the opportunity. And my mother is a cold woman. If you saw ordinary people, you met my mother. Absolute, totally, completely incapable of any kind of verbal or physical affection. Incapable of it. It's not her fault. She's just incapable of it, you see. But I got into AA at a time 19 years ago when parents were sacred. And we had a catchphrase, which was, well, they did the best job they could. Okay, let's put that side of our life aside. So you take your entire childhood, which is of no importance, right? Doesn't matter what you wore when you were 3 years old, I guess, unless you were a boy wearing dresses, I don't know. So you take your entire childhood and you set it aside, and now you try and live sober. Of course, remember, you couldn't live sober, which is why you began to drink in the first place, okay? And now you're in Alcoholics Anonymous, and because we're magic here, all you got to do is attend a few meetings and not drink, and it's going to be okay. It will be okay. Definitely will be okay. It will be that much better than it was before. And with each action you take in AA, it gets a little better and a little better and a little better. But when I got here, I was such a depressed, angry, sick, withdrawn, incapable of love human being that sign, live, love, and laugh, was, like I had no conception of live, love, and laugh. Survive was the main word in my vocabulary. Find a place to sleep, get a meal to eat, and find a girl and just kind of be cool, and hope she has a car. Everyone does not arrive completely able to support oneself. So it's like I set aside this thing of my childhood like, okay, forget it. And I began to go out into that world. We don't live in AA. If you're new, everything, I didn't hear him read it, but anything I say is my own opinion, and you can do with what you want, and some of it will probably change on the way home. And I don't take myself too serious, so I hope you don't. I'd hate to ruin your whole day and make you miss the ball game and have you get angry, and I might change my mind on the way home and say, that really was dumb. By the way, if you're not praying as hard for the Yankees as you are the Dodgers, there's something wrong with your spiritual program. One of the metaphysicians who I read has a great line in one of his books where he says, if you are at war and you are in the trenches, if you are not praying as hard for the other man as you are yourself, you have no spiritual program. See, that's all the stuff I ever wanted to hear. Jesus, if you're okay, then I'm going to come back and look at me. If you ain't okay, I don't have to deal with me. I don't have to deal with my feelings. I don't have to deal with who I am. I don't have to deal with I'm afraid. I don't have to deal with the fact that I feel like a turd most of the time. I don't have to look at any of that and say, well, look at him, look at her, look at them. Jesus, I hate Iran. I can get off on anything, Why go home and look at my feelings when I can deal on a worldwide, national basis, My single biggest problem in sobriety as I now stand here and reflect back over more than 19 years is self-worth. Nothing else but. Yes, right. Achieving it, little steps and pieces and increments at a time, is a bitch. Life without it is worse. Okay? In the 19 years I have been here, it has been incredible. Thank God for the insanity, because the insanity forced me to surrender to God. When I was 5 years sober, I was gone. It was over. The mind had control, man. It was, I'd done the best I could in AA, but it wasn't enough to overpower the mind because it was still there, It was still attending meetings, going on 12-step calls, and basically scheming, maneuvering, manipulating, screaming, yelling, and projecting absolute disaster, right? I mean, it's like here you are Sunday afternoon at this great convention in Bakersfield, California, and I know a lot of you are already into tomorrow, right? Oh, God, fucking Monday, man, it's going to be Jesus, Certainly no sense to enjoy the here and now when you can project a little bullshit for down the road, Never be happy when you can be anxious. So at 5 years clean and sober, I want to die. I want to die more than I've ever wanted to die at any time in my life, anywhere, for any reason. I wanted to die. Didn't want to kill myself, just wanted to die. I was too crazy, too depressed to kill myself. I was beyond suicide. Suicide at that point would have been a positive action. Because it would have been an action. You see, the mind, if your mind is like my mind, it believes wholly in one thing, inactivity. It wants to sit and think. It does not want to participate, and it will be drug kicking and screaming to new experiences. Somebody will come up and say, hey, why don't we go to the new yada-da? My mind, nah, man, we don't want to go there. Place is a dump. I never been there, never seen it, don't know anything about it, but my mind knows, no, we don't want to go, it's new, Can't go to new things and think. See, my mind doesn't want to deal with my feelings. Because if I get in touch with my feelings, I find out that I'm really a very gentle, sensitive human being. And if I find out I really like you, but I have been labeled by the state of California as a homicidal social psychopath, but I really like you. I mean, let's talk about dilemma. I just want to be quiet and peaceful, and I want to laugh a little bit. I want to have a little prosperity. I want to learn to get along with my fellow man daily on a kind of an easy-going, mellow sort of a way. I want to be able to have enough self-respect for me that if you're standing on my foot, I can tell you you're there, That's not easy, is it? Right? See? We all understand. It's like, it's back to 5 years here. What the hell? If you're 5 years clean and sober, and you're lucky, and you're totally insane, and you've just been bankrupt and you don't have a car, and basically things aren't swimming really well, you will surrender to God, having no other alternative. Having exhausted every possible avenue you can exhaust, having used all of the people you can use, having just generally burned out in everything, you say, okay, that's it, man, take it. If you're not there and you can't handle it, I'm going to die. The beauty of that is really interesting. The power of God is awesome. Just like your subconscious mind can't take a joke, God doesn't question your sincerity. He doesn't care. If you say you're his, he believes you. He says, okay, you're mine. Let me give you all the good things that I have promised. And God then proceeded over a period of time to put into my life from that moment on one good thing after another, after another, after another, until I was enjoying all these things like prosperity and success and position and, abundance and all good health. And my life was like wonderful and I was miserable. Had everything that they said God would give me. Gave it all to me. Didn't even question me. Didn't ask me where I came from, what I'd done, how many meetings I'd gone to, how many newcomers I'd helped. Didn't ask me nothing. He just gave it all to me. He said, here it is. I'm going to give you a career that you never dreamed possible. Because I, too, have never passed English, and I can't spell, and I'm a writer. I am a respected writer. I couldn't have even said that a year ago. God, self-worth is such a bitch, let me tell you. Let's talk about self-worth. No, that's all right. I don't wear it anyway. I was just going to carry my tie and coat over my arm up here so you knew I had one and just forget about it. I began to look around at about 17 years sober and say, what the hell is going on here? I've got everything in the world that a person can ask for, and I really feel bad. I still had a basic opinion of myself of a turd. I had no self-worth, man. I didn't have any sense of me being okay as a person. If I can leave here this morning with one thing, I don't know, you can leave with anything you want. If I can just leave here this morning or this afternoon with just that quiet little knowledge that I'm somebody, man, I will have had a good time up here. And if you can go away with the same thing, nothing more than you're somebody. You're very important because you are all you got, see? And I was brought up to believe that they were all I had. See? I didn't count. As long as mother was happy and daddy was happy, I was okay. If they were not happy, I was not okay. So I have spent my entire goddamn life relating to the entire world, from sales clerks to waitresses to the guys pumping gas in gas stations, as my mother and father. If they're happy, I'm okay. Doesn't matter the guy just chipped the paint off the back of my car with a goddamn nozzle, He's my daddy. I don't want to make him angry, Oh, geez, that's a shame. Sorry you had to do that, When you're drinking and using, if you pent all this stuff up, then, of course, you take it to the opposite extreme. You're attacking people for no reason at all. A guy in a bus looks over at you, and you just, break his jaw. Self-worth is difficult for me to talk about because in order to talk about it, I have to admit to the absence of it, and I hate that. It's again, like, I love what Mel said about being cool. In AA, the whole goal is be cool. That's all my mind ever wanted me to be in sobriety was cool. It didn't want me to be happy, didn't want me to love, didn't want me to laugh, it didn't want me to do anything except be cool. Don't show emotion. Meet the right people. Go to the right conventions, sit at the right tables, hang out, be cool. Life will come later. Unfortunately, life is here now, this minute. Well, at 17 years clean and sober, totally nuts, someone suggested to me that it might be wise for me to seek help. I accepted that. I had done the very best job. I can hear some of my great supporters saying, oh, Jesus, he's going to talk about therapy, even here. I talk about therapy at work, and they don't even go to AA, you know what I mean? So bless you. That is my convention phrase. So having exhausted every possible avenue that I could exhaust in 17 years of working the program, going to meetings, sponsoring babies, speaking at meetings, conventions, institutions, prisons, hospitals, reading the book, writing inventories, about 15 of them, generally doing it all, I was still, fruitcake. Waking up in the morning with awesome anxiety, My mind loves the morning, man. It always likes to project the day, This is a bad one. You don't want to go today. You know that deal you thought you were going to go through? I ain't going to go through today, man. It's on the bottom, so you're broke. So you better start thinking about who you're going to see about. And then on top of that, your health isn't good. Look at that bump on your wrist. Probably going to die in a couple of weeks, so I'd stay in bed if I was you, I thought, God, this stuff after, if you're a few years sober, I said, wait, 17 years, or you get really tired after a while. It's like, oh, no, don't talk to me anymore, please, It's like you would kill anybody else, that had followed you around like your mind has, going, And the tragedy of it is that this mind never says anything nice to you. It never tells you that you are a beautiful and alive, wonderful human being. It doesn't tell you that your day is going to be filled with joy and good feelings and new friends and prosperity and warmth and just general beauty. You don't wake up and it says, God, you're terrific. Let's give ourselves a nice day. Hey, all right, let's die. Fuck this, man. God, I'd like to think I deserve more in the morning than a desire to die. It just seems I wasn't put here so I could wake up every day depressed. Wake up every day wanting to die, and the only way you can get out of the house is need. Oh, I got to get to the job, man, or, it's over. Jesus, if I didn't have to get there, I guess I wouldn't go. I'd do something worthwhile, like sit here and think. So still being besieged with this mind at 17 years of sobriety, when therapy was suggested, I said, I think that's an excellent goddamn idea. I can't take it any farther than I've taken it, and my best results is I'm still laying around here, So I went to a woman, seeing as I've been married 5 times, that was one of the things that was pointed up to me. Possibly it wasn't them. The tragedy of that, of course, is I had never considered that. Never entered my mind. And that's the trap you can fall into when you're only looking at everybody else, and you don't look at you. The same things, the same pattern, same bullshit. It's going to go round and round. It's like being one of them guinea pigs or hamsters or whatever the hell they are in a little thing, just running, And no matter how fast you're running, no matter how hard you go, and how many relationships you go through and everything else, when you look, you're still in the same cage, same spot. Nothing's changed until you start to turn around and look at you. So I picked this woman, and I went to talk to her, and she said, well, tell me a little bit about your childhood. I said, well, when I was 15, they threw me out of manual arts, and I discovered a wonderful world of narcotics, and I began to deal a little dope and, run some shit from Mexico, and drank and used for a few years, and When I was 26, I wound up in AA. She's looking at me with this expression. I said, tell me a little bit about your childhood. So I don't remember any of it. Grin comes on the face. I can write a paper on this guy. I can see professional interest suddenly, you know. Oh, I've got one. And so we began to look at why I couldn't remember anything that had happened to me from birth until age 15, why it was a total blank, with the exception of 2 or 3 major things. I remember falling out of a second-story window when I was 4 onto a cement gutter on my head. I remember that one. I remember stepping on a snake barefoot when I was 3 and a half. That's it. That's it. Other than that, it's like I didn't exist. And you know, the funny thing was, I had written countless inventories, read them to different sponsors, of which I had had 5. So it almost sounds like I had one to go to each wife, didn't it? Never thought I'd have to look at that. I had read all these goddamn inventories, and they had all started at 15 years of age, and none of my sponsors had said to me, what happened to you before then? I have since discovered a few of them can't remember their own childhoods either. So it was okay to them. You know, they're making, oh yeah, well, I had guys read inventories to me, and they started, you know, in their middle teens, 14, 15 years of age. I thought that was fine, because I couldn't remember my childhood. I couldn't believe that any of that affected my life today. I was in the old school. Hey, it don't matter what went on back there, man. What counts is what's doing now, you know what I mean? It's now. Screw all that back there. Hold that attitude. Hang on to it. Embrace it, and it'll kill you. Absolutely kill you. Because why don't I feel good about me? What have I done bad in the last few years? I've been a responsible employee. I've been a responsible member of this program. I'm a responsible member of the society in which I live. I'm a responsible member of the community in which I reside. I basically am a pretty good person, and I still feel like a turd. What the hell did I do to deserve that feeling? Why do I feel like that? It's not right. And why am I so quiet? And why is it that one thing I'm afraid of more than anything else in the world is intimacy? I don't want you to know me. I'll let you see what I want you to see, but no, that's close enough. Don't get any closer to me, because if you see down inside of me, there's a very fragile little person living down inside there. And he's scared goddamn to death, because every time he tried to stick his head up, when he was this high, he got it knocked off. If not physically knocked off, he got it emotionally knocked off. You see, silence can be as lethal with children as brutality. Just as lethal. To raise a child in absolute silence with no communication and not allowing them to express all of this that's going on inside. Look at all of what's going on inside of us. You feel the energy in this hall, for Christ's sakes? If we were telekinetic, we could blow the walls out of this joint, you know. It'd be on 7 o'clock news. Well, today in Bakersfield, the alcoholics leveled the convention center, you know. They got into a deep thought process and blew the walls right out of the joint. Okay. So we got all of this going on, and, you know, we never are honest about it. I've never been honest about it with anybody. Most people I know aren't honest about it. Most meetings you go into when you're going through a bad time, you're 3/4 dead, you walk through the door, everything has gone wrong, your life is in complete shambles. The first person walks up to you and says, how are you? You say, you know, can't complain. Absolute dishonesty with your own feelings. It would be more honest if you fell down on the floor and began to sob at his feet. God, Jesus, God, you know. But we must be cool. So I began to dig back in my childhood, and I began to discover some very interesting things. And God is a marvelous, marvelous, wonderful, absolute, complete, perfect way to live. If you can live cradled in the palm of his hand, everything you need will be provided. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Doesn't even matter what you're doing. Because after about a year of this, as I was really starting to struggle through some of this and try and open these, just tear these doors back there that are closed so tight open, things began to happen in my current life today that put me in touch with things back then. One of the things that happened was, and after quitting smoking, you should sit and listen to this auditorium. But don't let me discourage you if you're off to destroy yourself. You know. Self-destruction goes hand in hand with no self-worth. Which you can ignore that statement. Oh, that's bullshit. Give me a cigarette, Margot. I'll quit when I want. Hey, you know, don't let me stop you. I managed to keep them out going for 15 years in here. So, please, feel free. So after I quit smoking, I was looking for something to do. Now I had some, health. So some friends of mine were running, so I began to run. And I was really having a good time running. My only problem was my body is a little crooked from those few injuries sustained with a bad attitude over my years in the streets. When you are over the edge, most people come at you from behind, so my back is not in the best possible shape. It's got a few fused vertebrae, and my pelvis has been snapped in half and put back together, and basically I'm not quite, on the x-ray, it's great. Looks around like this. Guys just staring and go, Jesus, it's really incredible that you're walking, much less running, it's... So I got some shoes made so I could run, without wobbling, run straight in a straight line. And problem was each pair was made separately. So every time I'd switch from one to another, like the ones from dirt and grass to the ones for pavement or whatever, I would get new blisters because they were different shoes. So I'm talking to a couple of guys that I was hanging out with that run a lot of marathons. I said, what do I do? They said, look, there's this guy in Long Beach who's the best. Go see this guy in Long Beach. He's a marathoner himself. He'll build you some orthotics for your shoes. You move them from one pair to the next, and your problem's over, and in essence keeps all your running shoes the same. I said, oh, great, I was living in Santa Monica at the time. Well, I went home and thought about it. Long Beach is a long way away, you know what I mean? So I thought, Jesus, there's got to be somebody closer, so I go to Century City. So I'm talking to this podiatrist in Century City, and he says, well, I don't do it, but I have a partner coming in next month who does it, and she'll make them for you. Now, normally, under most circumstances, I would have seen the door closed. I showed up, they don't do it. Now go back where you'd been told to go in the first place, right? To Long Beach. Oh, wait, that's cool. See, I'm not worth taking to Long Beach. I would drive you to Long Beach. If you came to me and said, this is the best guy and I have to go, I'd say, oh, shit, get in the car, I'll take you. I'm going to wait a month for somebody I don't even know, right, in Century City. I get the doctor who I don't even know in Century City, and they make me some orthotics for my shoes, and I go out and take a really easy, laid-back 3-mile run, and my back goes out, and I can hardly walk. So my friends say to me, listen, there's a group of guys in Pasadena that are the best, okay? They work with the Olympic team, they're chiropractors, they're heavy into sports medicine, they understand running. They'll fix you that quick. Pasadena's further than Long Beach. I can't drive me to Pasadena. I'd drive you to Pasadena. To the same doctor, I would take you to Pasadena. So I go to some guy in the marina who was 40 pounds overweight. You mentioned running, and his eyes glaze over. He doesn't even know what the word means, and he puts me in. I go run 9 miles. I go out. I come back. We go through this for 3 weeks. Finally, I got in the car, and I drove to Pasadena. They got me in good enough shape that I got in the car, and I drove to Long Beach. I go see this guy in Long Beach. He takes my shoes off. He looks at my foot. He says, Jesus, no wonder you're having trouble. That's just about a club foot. I said, what? He says, yeah. He says, did anybody do anything about it when you were a kid? So I don't know. I don't know. And I left his office, and I felt funny, and I felt bad, and I was upset, and I didn't know why, and I had this uneasy feeling, and I was thinking about feet, and I was like, I don't know what was wrong, and my mother calls. And she'd just come back from her foot doctor. God has got a sense of humor that I enjoy knowing. And she was complaining because the regular guy wasn't there. And she had to use his assistant or something, and he'd done something wrong. She was uncomfortable. I said, while we're on the subject of feet, did I ever have a problem with mine when I was small? And she said, yeah, well, you had extremely high and sensitive arches, weak arches. And we had to buy you special made shoes for these arches. She said they were very, very expensive. We have this conversation for about 10 minutes, and over the next 10 minutes, she reiterates a number of times how expensive these shoes were. And I hung up the phone, and I'm like really uneasy now. And I don't know why I'm uneasy, but I don't feel that good. I'm uncomfortable inside. And the next morning, I had to go see my therapist. I mean, it was a scheduled appointment. And I was like telling her, I'm uneasy and I don't feel good. And she said, well, let's just take these feelings back and see where the hell they go. And we did, and it took a little while. And suddenly I found this little boy, about 2 years old, standing there crying, tears streaming down his goddamn face because his shoes were too small and they hurt. And this woman was standing there telling him about don't say nothing and upset your father because they're expensive. Okay. So I go back to my foot doctor and I say, could wearing shoes designed for weak arches that are too small have turned this foot over? He says, oh yeah, sure, that's probably it. It's not his foot. He didn't really care. It wasn't important to him. You know. Now I begin to understand a few things. Now I begin to understand why I won't drive me to Long Beach. I mean, God damn it, if I am not worthy of shoes that fit, I'm certainly not worthy to drive to Long Beach. And when I got in touch with that one, I began to see why I won't do for me the things I'll do for you. I won't take the time to be kind to me that I'll take to be kind to you. I won't spend moments enjoying me that I'll spend enjoying you, and it's pretty easy to see why. If I am not worth buying shoes for that fit, what the hell value am I? See, the bad thing about the old school, which is, okay, Mom and Dad did the best job they can, let's now look at that and put it over here, is that's only half of the issue. That is only half of the issue, my opinion, okay? Sure, my mother and my father did the very best possible job they could do with the information they had. With the knowledge they had, they did to me what was done to them. They raised me with the emotions, with the values, with the same bullshit, with the hostility, the anger, the silence, the absence of affection. They did exactly to me what was done to them. They did the best job they could do. I accept that. I accept that. But it does not alter the fact that they did a rotten fucking job. That's reality. That is the truth. I'm not saying they're bad guys, but man, if I choose to spend the rest of my life ignoring what went on, I'm going to spend the rest of my life playing catch-up with life itself. And I don't want to play catch-up with life itself. And the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous abounds with promises for me, the alcoholic. It says, God, if you work these steps, you can get anything out of these steps if you have enough, knowledgeable help that you can get from therapy or any place else. If you can do it alone, super. If you can't, do what you must do to get where you have to go. But there's nothing wrong with wanting to have a rich, full, abundant life.
Sorry to interrupt your viewing. Taper Dave here. Just wanted to take a second to ask you to like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like what you're listening. I've got some very good talks here, and this one's a great one. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Tell me what you think.
Hey, it's okay to walk around thinking, Jesus, I'd like to have a couple of brand new goddamn Mercedes in the driveway and a big house on the hill and a couple of servants and just generally kick back and be cool. There's nothing wrong with wanting that. Not a thing. Unless you don't feel you deserve it. See? If you don't feel you deserve it, then don't want it. Let your mind talk to you. Let it work out your day for you. You see, part of trusting God is being willing for me to be spontaneous. The last thing my mind can stand is spontaneity, because it gets caught off guard all the time, and it can't stand that. There's two things I must be at all costs. One is prepared. The other is in control. I heard somebody say that alcoholics don't have relationships, they just take hostages. I love that. Must have control. And until I become willing to let go of, see, my mind can't let go of control. Control is critical to it. That's why it lives its whole life on a very fine edge. Because things are always being taken away from it. Doors are always closing. Things begin to happen in my life over which I have no control, and my mind can't stand it. I want that. And the door closes, and I stand there and go, God, no. A gal I used to have a great line. She used to say, she just would start praying that when God would close a door, she would get her hands out. Because she always found herself standing in the hallway with both hands bandaged, unable to open the new door. The God that I have come to know and understand in sobriety through pain, is loving and giving and all-present and all-powerful. I am always provided for if I am willing to be spontaneous, if I'm willing to just go through this day, if I am willing to take actions rather than sit and think. Sometimes I think in the beginning any action is better than no action at all, because thinking has never gotten me anywhere in this program. Thinking has never done a goddamn thing for me, except keep me up, You can always tell your friends when they've been thinking a lot. Look at them. They come into meetings with a guy that's twisted expression, Everything okay? Yeah, I've just been trying to work something through, you know. I don't look good. I don't feel too bad. I'll have it worked out in a little while. It's nice when you just say, yeah, I don't really feel too well. Things aren't going quite like I'd like them to. And if you have a second, maybe we can share. Oh, you become vulnerable when you do that. That's like, you know, that's danger time. Somebody jump in there and say, I don't have the time, screw you. I'm terribly afraid of that because that's my childhood. Mom, drop dead. But get out of here. You learn to get out of there. You learn to stay quiet. You learn to get out of your own life. One of the tragedies of the beauty of God's love is you say, hey, I'm yours, give it all to me, and he does. And the tragedy of no self-worth is that your whole life is being enjoyed by everybody but you. Okay? One of the things that got me going on all this is one day a friend of mine who was like 14 years sober came to visit me at the studio. And he had never been at a studio. Okay? He was having a wonderful time. And he was behaving like a complete ass, too, you know. I mean, it's like, we're walking over to the commissary, and he goes, wow, what's his name? Oh, Jesus, the guy on MASH. Wow, look at her, I know her, she's the chick that... And I'm like saying, oh, God, would you be cool, man, you know. He's like flipped out. Every set he looks at, he goes, Jesus, look at that. Is that something, you know? And I took him down to watch the special effects things work, and he had to go over and ask the guy how I did it. How'd you do that? You know? And the guy told him. I never knew how the hell they did that. You know? But I never asked him, you know? So I was being cool. He left after about 4 hours, man. I mean, and he had had the best time of his life. And after he left, I'm sitting there in my office at the studio, and I'm saying, I have been in this business for 12 years, and this guy just got more goddamn enjoyment out of what I do in 4 hours than I have gotten in 12 years. And I went back out of my office, and I walked around this place and decided not to be cool, and it's terrific. You know? It's a great place to work, man. It's really a ball. You know, now I have a lot of fun. I go in the morning and say, oh, geez, there's what's his name? You know. And now I'm a producer. I got a knock. I can call the special effects guys in my office and say, how'd you do that? I can even make them tell me in advance. I don't have to know. You know, I don't have to be cool. What time is it? Oh. I got to share this last little thing. This is very important to me because it sums up a lot of it to me. And it's I can only share it about me because I'm here to share about me. And all the hell I'm trying to do is just let you see me and see what goes on, and you know, has gone on in my 19 years of sobriety. And if I don't tell you about all the things that have gone on, I think I've cheated, you know, as much as I can in the time allowed. You see, because one of the things is with the writing, you know, like not having an education, it really does, and no self-worth, you always are playing like catch-up. See, like I've never been able to enjoy the studio because I always knew they were going to find me out. You know, I never drove into the studio in the morning excited about working there. I always knew my mind was, you know, there with me in the car, all of them. And I would drive in the morning and they would know that the parking space would be gone. My name would be gone, you know. It's like they'd found me out, you know, the sign's down and my parking spot's gone. I'm relieved I'm at a new studio. They don't put your name on the spot. So I won't know until I get in the office. No, I'm kidding. One time I was in a big rush. They had to have a script in 4 days for their show, and so I wrote it in 4 days, and then I jumped on a plane and got the hell out. And I went to Hawaii, and I knew it. And I just got over there, and it was a special episode that they had wanted, After I was there about 3 days, a letter showed up in the mailbox where I was staying in Hawaii from the producers of this show, and I got it out of the mailbox, and I stood there in the driveway with it, and I held it. And being psychic, I knew what was in the envelope. As I do all things that come in the mail, my mind says, oh, I know what's in there, you know, Jesus. I mean, it's so nice to just open it without preconceived idea and read it, you know. I mean, my mind always has to interpret everything. Oh, the mail, it's bad. It's just the mail, you know. I mean, it doesn't have to be bad. So I'm looking at this envelope and I'm staring at it, and I know what it says is it's the worst goddamn script that they have ever read in their lives, and not only will I not write for the show anymore, I probably won't be allowed in the studio anymore, period. The person with me finally had a very bright idea, said, why don't you open the envelope? Yeah. I wasn't even talking to her, I was just looking at the envelope, you know, thinking, you know. I opened the envelope, and on the inside was a letter from the producers of the show saying this has got to be one of the most beautiful scripts that we've ever had written since we've been on the air. And as the subject is so tender and you have done such a sensitive job with it, we are not going to rush it into production as we had originally thought. We will wait for you to come back and make some changes in it, and we will take our time and do it the justice it should be done. Thanks, lots of love, and sign the producers. You know what I said? You know how good my self-worth was thanks to this marvelous childhood of mine? I said, well, at least they aren't pissed off. I will be very grateful, and the day that I'm headed for, and it's not far away, is that the next time a letter comes to me in the mail under certain similar circumstances, I will hold it in my hand and I will know that it says, you have just written a fine piece of material for us, and we want to compliment you on your professionalism and your creativity. You see, that's where I want to get to. And I don't know what your dreams are, but we can have it all. You see, I'm somebody. I really am. I'm very important. The most important person in my life. And you are the most important person in your life. I mean, forget everything else. You're really important. You're worth taking care of. You see? And maybe I'll give you a little trick I use. Not all the time, and it doesn't work well, but it helps me a lot. I imagine this little guy standing next to me. He's about 3 years old, and he's got blonde curly hair, big blue eyes, and he's in a little sailor suit. Okay? And I try not to do to me anything I do to him. If I won't stuff a cigarette in his throat, I won't stuff it in mine. If I won't feed him something, I try not to feed it to me. If I would take him and show him a good time by taking him a certain place, I try and take me there. Not anybody else but me, just me, you see. If I would take him to Disneyland, why the hell can't I take me to Disneyland? See? If I take him on a trip, why can't I take me on a trip? And this child lives in every one of us. Every one of us. And deserves the very best there is. And with this program and with God, it's possible. Absolutely possible. See? I am so blessed. My life is so beautiful today. Now all I want to do is strip away enough of what was done to me when I was small so I can participate in everything that's going on now that I'm big. God bless you.
I think we got a great talk going on here. Thanks for watching the channel. Taper Dave here. Just curious, do you think this is better than Zoom? Okay, this is how I prepare my drone for launching. I like to do it inside the cab of my truck so I'm not standing outside in the weather. To install the joysticks for control, up and down, right and left, powered on. I have an Android phone that I use to connect it to the drone with. And it's actually controlled through the iPhone, through an app. Oops, wrong way. It's actually controlled through the iPhone, or through this Android phone, through the app. It's actually controlled through the Android phone, through an app, and you connect it through this short connection right here.
Remote control connected.
remote control is connected. So I pull out the drone. I have to extend the legs. Long legs extended first, then the short legs. Remove the gimbal protector. Set that aside, then power it on one short burst and one long burst. I lay it down. So I have to go to calibrate. So the drone's not connected yet. It shows you here as this drone gets disconnected, even though the remote's powered on. So the drone has to establish it's connected. So I go into the app to calibration mode. First I'll calibrate the remote controller. Start calibration. Out, in, oop, out, in, up, down, and then this little wheel is to control the gimbal. So it's calibrated. Go to gimbal calibration, start calibration, and then it calibrates the gimbal. I don't know if that shows up. The gimbal's moving all over the place. Changes, you can see it on the video. And I'm calibrated to take off. It's acquired 7 satellites at the moment. There are 26 satellites up in the sky, which it has to acquire before you can take off. So it's connected. It's got enough satellites. This is white. I can go to press this little arrow button, swipe right to take off, and it would start the motors if I slid this to the right. But I'll wait till I get outside. Don't want to do it inside.